Hi everyone, welcome to Vatra Swag. This is a place where we get together to discuss issues most relevant to us. And I don't think anything could be more relevant in these times of Corona, of the pandemic. Uh, Whether we should go ahead with exams, especially board exams, that a lot of governments, whether at the center or at the state, are pushing for. We have a very exciting little panel with us today. Joe, why don't you go ahead and introduce our panelists?
Okay, so we've got Kiran, who is a very well-known author. But today we've got Kiran here, not because she's writing galore, but because she is the mother of a 12, a student in class 12. So, she's very vested in what's going on. Akhil is in class 12, ready to give his boards or not in May. And we have Arjun, who is spearheading this whole campaign to, like no board exams 2021. It was something that was trending. Cancel board exams 2021. That's me actually. So a wide variety of panelists, all invested in the same goal, and we're looking to actually figure out how things have changed. Whether actually, Monica, this is just, are we also doing a chance pay dance? Some students, or this is actually a it works out. I mean, things have changed. And okay, I'll come to you first. And I want to know really what is your, why do you not want to give the exams?
So there's a very different approach that I'm going to try to give to this. And I personally believe that the thing that's being overlooked and a lot of discussion placed on this, yeah, in a lot of discussions that are taking place are that when laws are passed or decisions are made by the government, they're made for the majority and the masses. The benefits and not the 50% of the class that we have in this discussion lie in. And us kids in Gurgaon that live in that 1% population are living in a bubble with our biggest struggle in the last 1 year being the fact that we can't party or meet our friends. And we're the exception, not the norm. And I'm not saying that I'm not gutted about the fact that I've lost my entire last year of school to the pandemic and those small things like your graduation for starters or your last sports day or that last day with your friends, no matter how insignificant they are, they do play a role in some way or another. I feel staying in confinement at the peak of your youth, being consumed by nothing but social media for 13 months has affected everyone's mental health, ability to focus, ability to study in some way or another. And now these trivial things are a problem for all students across India, irrespective of their income, city, school, etc. In addition to this, for the other 99% of kids, which are the masses who things need to be passed for. To give you a perspective, a lot of people are saying that online education has given it's been very inconvenient to learn from, and how can you give offline exams if you've been studying online the whole year for the first time? And a lot of those kids didn't even have that for a good part of the year. Actually, the facilities, the infrastructure, the schools having the technology, and most like importantly, their teachers having the expertise and experience to do that efficiently, unlike ours. And syllabus cuts have been pretty insignificant too. These kids didn't even start their syllabus until pretty late in the year, according to the usual schedules that schools follow in 12th grade. And this caused the teachers to rush what's already hard to grasp in what's a very tough year academically. And then trust me when I say it caused the majority of students to cheat in online exams, as one would naturally get tempted to do that. And the first exams being in a board environment, I feel will just be a disaster. And there being me as well. And I know that the board can conveniently say that that's not their problem, but you need to know that you're dealing with kids here, and they'll either have to have a ridiculous amount of moderation in the exams or base it off the same absurd formula that they did last year. Because I know people who just gave an English language exam and ended up getting 100 in their psychology. So I think people will very happily settle for that because it's much better for the average student who a law needs to be passed for, which is my main point. And I could go on and on about this and use rhetoric and sentiment and But since the government only wants to argue with facts in what should involve sentiments as well when you're dealing with it, we'll do that.
No, it's very interesting. And you're right. I mean, past 12 for an entire year to go through online education. I mean, I would want to be in your place. But coming to you, you're living in Bombay, where in Mumbai, where the situation is really, really bad. I mean, the numbers are rising. You're on a weekend lockdown right now. I was just seeing some pictures which was empty. But tell me this, first as a mother, what are your concerns just for health and safety? Speak to me about that.
The fact that the exams are happening online at a time where we're not even sending our kids out of the house is scary. It's not the social distancing at the examination center itself that worries me. It is the actual travel to the center. Even if I send them by car, even if I send them by auto rickshaw or whatever, or an Ola, he is going to go out there in contact with other people. And, we have been so particular all this time. I'm not being selfish. I'm not being paranoid. I'm just looking at the ground situation right now. Last year, when the numbers were much lower, we didn't have, we had shut colleges and we had shut schools. The numbers are going through the roof right now. This variant is so contagious. Every second person is getting it, as we were just chatting just now. It's not someone we've heard of getting COVID. It's right here, right now at our doorsteps. And what is to say that if a child goes for an examination, he gets infected, it just spreads among that group? What happens then? What is the backup plan? What will these kids do after that? They will go into quarantine, then the rest of their examinations go on hold. What is the solution to all this? Plus also, as Akhil was saying, they have not had writing practice for over a year. They have to write a paper of 3.5 hours with a mask on your face is going to be difficult. It is physically difficult. It is, there is the issue of, feeling slightly suffocated, and it's a hot month right now. And not all the classrooms are air conditioned for everyone. So it's going to be physically demanding. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be writing an exam in a year when you haven't really had the advantage of studying the way you're used to studying. So all these factors are there. Above all, I think, very honestly, Manika, it's the sheer physical risk of sending the child there that worries all of us as parents.
I think, but Kiran, you were talking about the air conditioning and everything. To me, that's a big worry as well. The practicality
Absolutely.
of the examination center. I mean, how many of them are going to, we were used to those small fans swirling around when we're talking about extremely good ventilation as being extremely critical in, in spaces where there are a lot of children. I think that's a big worry for me, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is, some places may have air conditioning, which is dangerous. Some places may have, in a very hot situation, fans, which is good for the, the coronavirus situation, but horrible if you're going to write a paper for 3.5 hours with your mask on. So it's a no-win situation for the children. It's just going to be very physically demanding, taxing, plus no writing practice for a year. Plus, online teaching hasn't really been honed up to the mark, to the level that the kids really require. Syllabus cuts have been negligible. It's a situation I think the authorities really need to relook at. Why are they doing this to the children? Why are they willing to risk the children's lives for an examination that can either be postponed or some alternatives can be looked at? I'm sure we had a year to think about this. This should have been thought about earlier. It's not something that's cropped up on us right now at this point. So there should have been some backup plan.
I think that's the real issue. I think last year, as we were tackling, as Corona came on, the expectation was that by this year, it would all be fine, But if you remember, all of us at this time last year would say, this time, we'll all be fine. So, it was like the vaccine will come and happen. And now, suddenly, with the surge, we don't know how to deal with it again. Having said that, there is also this whole expectation, whether it's from the government or the HR ministry or from colleges, saying, how do you expect us then to grade, especially for class 12, even for class 10, we can manage. But how do you expect us to grade class 10 students for college? Like, who do I take in and who do I not take in? Because if I, it is a standardized test, right? And I base my ins and outs based on the test. So if I don't have the test, I will have kids coming to me saying, well, I didn't really do well internally, I was waiting for the boards. Okay? And, the other thing is, okay, online exams, like I said, a lot of cheating happening. So, what is that alternative that you think is viable to move forward?
I honestly don't know. I'm not an educationist, I'm not an authority at all. But as a parent, I feel A, we could either postpone the exams, B, we could perhaps put all the children as passed due to COVID, but have entrance exams later for whatever institutions they're applying for. So there is some grading percentage, something that ties us over this phase when we are at a peak. My main concern is that this phase, when we are at a peak with numbers going so high and all the confusion that we're in, this is not the time to send the kids out in a crowded situation. This is not the time to send anybody out in any situation. So there has to be, and for us thinking about next year we would be fine. The vaccine would be, the kids have no vaccine. There is no vaccine for the kids. How do the authorities expect us to send kids out when there's no vaccine, there's no protection, the numbers are at an all-time high? Even if we as parents and the children didn't think about the eventuality of, the virus continuing and becoming so aggressive this time, definitely health authorities should have been forcing this kind of a thing. We had the Spanish flu, which ran for 3 years. So there was a precedent of it, not going away in 1 year. So definitely, some plan, some measure, something. But now we see that there's no plan. There's been no plan. Absolutely.
I think, Freda, I can give you more information and insight on the question you asked. What we have been told the whole year, and what I'm assuming other schools have done, is that they've been telling us that in case boards don't happen or under the circumstances that board get cancelled, we want you all to perform well in your internal exams, your internal assessments, your board vivas, because whatever formula they will use, it may include what you have done in your internal thing, and schools need something to show to them. And just like they did last year, everyone's percentages were based on a very convoluted formula which included the 11th grade final marks, which were also board exams for us, by the way. Our 11th grades were not internal exams for ISC, they were also board exams, so they're official marks that they can take, the 10th grade boards, and everyone got the predicted grade on the basis of a formula as well, right? I don't know how practical this is, but majority of kids that are applying internationally and have already gotten the admission don't need to give board exams. Secondly, people who need to meet a certain conditional for certain universities, if the formula that the board provides allows them to meet that conditional, then again they don't need to give board exams. But if they feel that they really need a higher percentage in the formula that the board has suggested for them, then there can probably be accommodations made for students to take the board exams on a voluntary basis or accept the formula that the board is offering to them. I don't know how practical that is, but it's a suggestion from the perspective of someone who's been hearing that we have all these records of yours to make a formula and then give you your board marks on the basis of that. And we
just
can also
question.
sorry, Arjun, just
So okay,
one last.
so
Oh, it's for me?
yeah, for you. So when you get a conditional from a UK or US college, is it possible that if you don't give boards this time and you go ahead with the predicteds, don't you think that the colleges would also be a little more understanding this time and be like, okay, fine, we can just go ahead without a conditional, because even they know that the current pandemic is in its second stage and giving boards is really impractical at the moment. So don't you think even the colleges should just waive off the conditional at this point of time?
I think the United States, which is supposed to be the most prestigious educational system in the world, is not accepting people on the basis of conditionals, but they're giving them unconditional offers. the London School of Economics, which I've applied to and I'm yet to hear back from because of COVID, actually, for the first time has cancelled their UGAA tests, which you need to give in order to even be considered for the school because of COVID. And this is just for India. Every year they only hold this test for Indian ISC and CBSE students to see if you're competent enough. And even the London School of Economics, which is so prestigious, has taken measures as early as January to cancel the UGAA test so that we don't have to give it, and they understand we can't. And to answer your question, if my conditional for university is 85 and the board from some formula has given me a 92, even though I might want a 95 in my boards, as long as I'm meeting my conditional and going to that university irrespective, I feel I don't have any obligation to give the board exams. And the last thing that you said about postponement, or they can postpone it, I think how much more than June? Like, kids leave for universities and give their entrances for IIT, JEE, IIM, whatever they might have to give in July. So everything's gonna clash. It's too close now to reschedule everything, and further postpone it, and that's going to delay even when kids enter universities in their semester. So it's just going to be a even bigger mess. So I think they should have just done exams in March, but it's not even as if the cases
Okay,
right.
I'm just going I want to play devil's advocate here. And I'm going to come to Arjun in a little while, asking why he's doing the campaign. But, there is also this whole argument that I hear from a lot of bureaucrats, a lot of people in government saying, well, yes, numbers are rising again and all of that. But for the past 6 months, from October onwards, when the graph was going down, all of you, including the kids, were out. You were meeting people. There were sort of parties, even in small groups, happening. You were going to the mall. Everyone forced cinemas to open. There was this whole thing of everyone going out. But when it comes to exams now, you guys want to hold back and say, okay, we're not going to give offline exams. So what's the counter to that? First to you, Kiran, and then to you, Arjun.
I think when everyone was going down, the numbers had gone down to something like 293 in Mumbai. The numbers are almost hitting 10,000 now. So there's a vast difference between what the numbers were then and what the numbers are now. There's no comparison. And the fact that the strain of the virus has also changed, it's not as, it's much more infectious than it was earlier. So these are factors that weren't in play at that point in time, Manika. And these are factors that play right now. And the children don't get a vaccine. So the severity of them, if and when they do get infected, they're going to suffer it a lot more than people from an older generation who have got the vaccine. So these are factors that I think we need to keep in mind when we talk about you.
It's a fallacy that all kids, there's a generic assumption that all kids get it very lightly, which is not true, because I know lots of children who are getting it, lots of young ones who are getting it now, and they're getting it very seriously and severely.
It's very severe with the children, with the young ones. That's scary.
No, I just want to ask Arjun. Arjun, you're in class 12 now. You're not giving your boards. You do run this website, and you decided to start the whole campaign, asking, whosoever, you can approach to stop the board. Where did that come about from?
Okay, first of all, just because I'm not in class 12, I'm not giving my board exams, doesn't mean that I don't care about people around me, right? So even in my organization, in my website, I've got juniors who are working for us. I've got senior. Actually, Akhil was also a part of it. And these are all my peers, and I don't want to see them get infected, pass it on to their grandparents, and see a casualty or fatality in their family. So that's how this started. We started doing it, and now we're trying to reach out to as many people as we can. And I think the best approach to this is start writing open letters. Already few lakhs of signed the new petitions which are going around, and still the government isn't doing anything about it. So maybe start new open petitions to them and open letters to them can be something which can work out. But yeah, that's how it came about.
So do you have hope that you will get a positive response? Because from what I'm reading, the CBSE is very adamant that it's not going to change its stance, that everything according to the CBSE, which again, I find it a bit hard to understand always is that everything is open in India, so why not the board exams? And
And ICSE followed whatever the CBSE
Yeah,
had.
that's true. That's true.
CSE
Yeah,
is
we're
given.
obviously hopeful that something or the other works out. But the thing is that what I don't understand is how is CBSE ready to take the liability about what can happen if a student of theirs gets COVID-19? So, for example, if a senior or junior of mine ends up going for the board exam and gets COVID at that center, because they're in such a congested area, right? They haven't given any guidelines for that at the moment. There's like hundreds of people in the same room and it spreads like insanely fast. So if someone is to get COVID on that day, CBSE is liable for that. And now if that someone gets COVID from that day and it spreads to their grandparents who are at a higher risk from dying from this COVID strain, what is CBSE going to do then? What are they going to say to the students then? What is ICSE going to do to them? So that's what I don't get, why they're taking this liability on themselves. But yeah, we're always hopeful that in the end, they listen to the student body and actually do what's better for everyone.
I think you were saying something.
I was saying that ICSE has also been absolutely like very, very poor in terms of communication with us the whole year. We've been left in the dark as 12th grade students in terms of syllabus reductions. When board will happen actually until last month, no one knew from ICSE, released like 2 months after CBSE. And no, things are not the same now. Things are not open. There's curfews everywhere. I'm a musician. Musicians aren't allowed to gig anywhere. There's night curfews wherever you want to go. So no, people are not going to movies and everything as they're stating right now. And again, that's the 5% of the population that we're referring to. When we speak and when we represent students, we're representing that one kid in West Bengal in some ICSE school in a rural area who didn't get proper education throughout the year and is neither enjoying these privileges of going to clubs or whatever. So I think you need to look at the big picture. And
no, would it work? Sorry to interrupt, but would it work to declare this a 0 year?
Yeah, would it work? Sorry, I didn't get that.
To declare this a 0 year? Declare it a 0 year, like it doesn't matter.
How would that work?
That's a bit tough.
I'm asking.
No, definitely not. I don't agree with that. I think there needs to be an official percentage declared, irrespective of what happened. It can't be declared a 0 year. Everyone in 12th grade has had enough. We were supposed to probably be in Goa at this time of the year, 2 years back if we were in some other batch. But now the problems and our needs are different. We just want to get done with this and see whatever decision they make. They also have not told us what happens if a kid gets COVID and how they're planning on going about it. It's a very genuine concern.
So Kiran,
Very, very big and genuine.
Kiran, what
Sorry,
are
sir.
sorry?
Go ahead, Akhil. Sorry.
I just meant that, like, on the same point of ISC being poor in communication, we really don't know how a kid is going to cope if he has COVID. If they're going to treat it as a normal illness and say that just as if you had a normal illness during board exams, because you can't. And you most certainly cannot. We're just waiting to hear back from them. We don't even know if they'll tell us anything.
No, so Kiran, I'm taking off from where Akhil is saying, and my girls go to school, so I know what, that nervousness that happens even with a single cough. Okay, it's like, oh, I wanted to cough in class today, Mama, but I couldn't. I mean, I was controlling it because they're so nervous themselves, right? And I mean, if you sometimes they're like, oh, the throat is hurting. I'm like, you're going to be sent home. Just stay at home. So I mean, what are the kind of emotions going on at home with you, your husband, that, your 12, your class 12 son, I mean, 16, 17, 18, he's going to be sitting for this exam. There's, I don't know what kind of social distancing, ventilation, but the kind of pressure is there a lot of pressure on him?
I try not to convey my anxiety, to be honest. Because yes, I know he has his own set of anxieties and I know that he's stressed. And as a parent, I am stressed. All of us are stressed as parents. The kids have their own pressure of studying for the exam, also going for that. And as Akhil said, who takes the liability? And as I said earlier, if the kid contracts COVID from the exam, what happens? He goes into quarantine. What happens to the rest of his papers? These are all factors I'm sure that, they are also worried about. At home, I think we've reached a level of zen that what has to happen is going to happen. If it is going to be offline, well and good. We'll just have to go ahead with it because there is really no option about it. We can't have them drop a year, and we'll just have to take the risk. But that itself is so anxiety-inducing, Jyotsna. The fact that we don't have a choice in this as parents, we just have to send the kids, and take that risk on, whether and just cross our fingers and hope for the best. But writing a paper, a board exam, this kind of anxiety on your head is very unfair on the kids, I feel, because you have the pressure of a board exam, and you also have the pressure of whether or not you're going to contract an illness that has, put the entire world to a standstill for the past year. So it's a double whammy for the kids, and I think that's grossly unfair on them.
No, there is a lot of anxiety. Akhil, do you see a lot of anxiety around you in school, amongst your classmates?
I think everyone's mental health is just deteriorated, like in a very, very bad way in the last 1 year. People are glued to their phones and social media. They have no motivation to or access to do anything outside, see people. They're missing their last year. It's a definitely a very tense situation, and on top of that, the whole board exam thing is going on. And another point, like, that I want to add is that my brother studies in the US, and it's common practice there that you give online exams, right? And they have the technology to make sure that you don't cheat through whatever scanning your environment and detecting movements, etc. And I'm sure they had an entire year to plan out an alternate for board exams, and they postponed it further. So they could have very easily and economically so some form of technology to allow it to happen online in an efficient way, but they chose not to do that either. So I don't know where it's going. Everyone's definitely very anxious and tense regarding this.
So as we wrap this discussion, I just want each one of you to possibly say in one line. If you had the HRD minister in front of you, I'm presuming he's the man who's going to take the final call. Though in states, of course, education is a state subject, but I think they also look at the center for that. So if the HRD minister was in front of you and you could say one thing to him, what would that be? And I'll start with you, Arjun, one line.
Are you ready to gamble with the lives of crores of your student population?
Kiran?
Okay.
What would I tell them? These guys are going to vote for you tomorrow. So think hard.
Good one. Akhil?
Put yourself in our shoes when you make a decision and put your ego aside about cancelling it for the second time.
Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. And let's hope that the right decision is taken, a decision that is for the benefit of crores and crores of students around. Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you.
All the best,
so much.
guys.
Thank
Thank you.